threat in the east of Europe continues. The Ukrainian army continued its fight against the threat without interruption. The Ukrainian territory, which has become a fortress protecting Europe, resists Russian imperialism with its greatest strength. In the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine, new developments continue to take place on the front line. According to the latest reports, Ukraine's counteroffensive continues in at least 4 sectors of the front line. So what is the latest situation? Let's take a look at the developments on the map. The latest information on the Russia-Ukraine war continues to be published by the Pioneer. You can also subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications not to miss the latest map analysis and daily reports reported by the Pioneer team. The Pioneer reports. Let's first analyze the situation of the Bakhmut front and the Eastern Front in general. The Eastern Front is defined here as a line of about 250 kilometers stretching from Topoli to Vuhledar. Since the start of the Ukrainian counteroffensive, the area liberated on this front line has reached 24 square kilometers according to the latest reports. We will discuss the latest situation here on the regional basis. When we look at the situation of the Ukrainian army along this front line, we can say that a tactical improvement position has been taken. Ukrainian troops along this front line have slightly reduced the pace of their offensive. However, this does not mean that the counteroffensive is over. Ukrainian troops in the region are reinforcing their positions and aiming to carry out more violent attacks in the coming days. In this part of our report, let's analyze the latest situation in Bakhmut, one of the most important positions on the Eastern Front. You will remember the Atosh movement group from our previous reports. The group recently made claims about the latest situation on the Bakhmut line. As you know, after the withdrawal of the Wagner militia from Bakhmut, the control of Bakhmut city center was largely in the hands of Russian troops. These Russian troops were reinforced by the Ahmed Group, a special unit of the armored forces of Chechnya. According to the Ahmed movement group, the Ahmed Group suffered heavy losses in the clashes between Ukrainian troops and the Ahmed Group at the entrance to the west of the center of Bakhmut. The Ahmed Group, which suffered heavy losses, handed over the defense mission in the west of the city to the Russian army. This information, which initially emerged as a claim, was partially confirmed in the following hours. Ukrainian Defense Minister spokesperson Hanna Maliar announced that the dominant hills at the entrance of Bakhmut city center have become under the control of the Ukrainian army. According to Maliar, the city center has largely come under pressure from the Ukrainian army. This shows that the tactical advantage in the siege of Bakhmut has shifted to the Ukrainian army. We can see this more clearly when we look at the latest situation on the flanks of the Bakhmut front. According to the latest reports, it is possible to say that the Ukrainian army's advantage in the north of the Bakhmut has been preserved. As you know, the silent points here were Berkhivka and Yahidny. According to the latest reports, the Ukrainian army continues to control the dominant points. There is no significant situation in the region except the small-scale borders changes. Although the Russian army has been launching attacks in recent days, especially in Berkhivka, to expel Ukrainian troops from the region, these attacks are nothing more than attempts. Ukrainian artillery units are showing great resistance to these attacks of the Russian army. It is among the information that Russian troops trying to take an attack position in the region suffered heavy losses. And unexpected developments on the Eastern Front took place north of Vuhledar. Let's take a look at timeline. There were clashes between two armies around Rozdelivka north of Vuhledar. However, these clashes did not affect the front line, so they were not on the agenda. It seems that the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive has gained momentum in this area as well. The blue areas north of Rozdelivka is about 1.28 square kilometers. This area has been liberated from the latest attacks by the Ukrainian army. Although we often talk about the importance of Berkhivka, Yahidny, and Klishchivka for the siege of Bakhmut, the city of Vuhledar is just as important as 3 regions. As you can see, Vuhledar is an important and large city north of Bakhmut. The Ukrainian army's capture of Vuhledar would be a move that would drastically change the situation in Bakhmut. The capture of Vuhledar would mean that a tactical advantage would be completely in the hands of the Ukrainian army. Looking at the situation south of Bakhmut, we see that the Ukrainian army is continuing its advance. Recent reports by Ukrainian Defense Ministry spokesperson Hanna Maliar attest to this. The fighting around Klishchivka continues. We can say that the Ukrainian army is particularly trying to strengthen its fortifications here. Now let's take a look at the southern front, the Zaporizhia front line. Here we know that the main goal of the Ukrainian army is to break through the front line and to reach Berdyansk and Mariupol. Looking at the situation in the entire front line since the start of the counteroffensive, we can say that the Ukrainian army has liberated about 170 kilometers. This is confirmed by the statements of Defense Ministry spokesperson Maliar. According to Maliar's latest statements, a counteroffensive is on the way along the entire Zaporizhia front line. The Ukrainian army has been relentless in its effort to fortify the positions it has been captured so far. According to the latest information, there seems to be partial progress in a few areas in the direction of Berdyansk. Let's take a look at the Robotin direction. The fighting there has intensified in recent days. It seems that the Ukrainian infantry units with artillery support have largely worn down the Russian positions in the Robotin. According to local sources, some positions have already been captured by the Ukrainian army. There is also talk of an offensive by the Russian army in the area south of Makarivka. The Ukrainian army's advance in the direction of Ostromayorsky and Ryorozhin has disturbed by the Russian army. Therefore, Russian troops stationed in the direction of Ryorozhin attempt several attacks. However, the Ukrainian defense forces repelled the attacks of the Russian army and largely protected their positions. The Ukrainian counteroffensive in Priyotny direction has also increased in intensity. Ukrainian artillery units are shelling the Russian positions in the area with heavy artillery. According to local sources, the Russian army has suffered heavy losses. However, no progress has been made yet. The situation on the southern front does not only involve developments that will increase tactical advantage. According to Maliar, the Ukrainian army is conducting aerial reconnaissance, clearing mines, firing artillery at identified enemy's targets, and conducting counter-battery operations. This suggests that the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive on the Zaporizhia front line will intensify in coming days. We can state that the Ukrainian army is preparing for a wider offensive. According to Maliar, the Ukrainian army is ready to continue its large-scale offensive actions. What is your assessment of the situation on the front line? Is the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive successful? What do you think about the losses of the Russian troops? Do you think the Ukrainian army's counteroffensive will intensify? We value your opinion. Please share them with us.